Hizo a Gollum, hizo a César, Andy Serkis es el rey de la captura de movimiento y le dio su bendición al planeta de los simios Nuevo Reino con un par de talleres con su elenco. Este jueves se estrena una nueva película de una de mis sagas preferidas y conversé con Alain Gauthier, coreógrafo a cargo de continuar con el legado de Andy Serkis con estos simios.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
That franchise became an archetype for for society. It was just fantastic. It's part of our reality, you know. And so, yeah, it's impressive to be part of it, definitely.
I don't know if the rest of the cast, but Owen at least went to a sanctuary where he met a few monkeys. And I think you went to a zoo. I don't know if you went to a sanctuary as well, and if you can tell me the differences that you saw in the behavior of the monkeys in a sanctuary and in a zoo.
Yes, I was never able to see the monkeys in a sanctuary in my life. And from what from what I keep saying Noah, it's Owen. From what Owen was sharing with me, obviously the biggest difference is that in a sanctuary, they get to have a piece of a somewhat natural environment that they can go interact with, as opposed to being in a pen, in a confinement. And you know, my observation of the chimps or the gorillas in a confined space is that all their social behaviors are under stress. It's kind of like observing a human being from a village versus a human being from New York City, you know? Because of the confinement and the amount of people and the limited, space, vital space, the behavior is more intensified. When observing the chimps in a zoo, you get a lot of fights in a day, and they're sometimes pretty violent, and the apes have behaviors that is somewhat different from, at least from looking at documentaries of people that have been hiding in the forest, filming them, and being able to capture that. It's quite different.
Much to learn. Much to teach.
I was talking with a friend that defined the movie as a coming of age. So we don't see the same Noah at the beginning than at the end. So did the movements of Noah change throughout the film?
They did. It was it's probably my biggest challenge with the film, was to keep an eye on how the characters would evolve in the story, because the film is obviously not shot chronologically. The first day of shoot, we were nearing the end of the film, and so we had to kind of go, okay, well, this is what your character has gone through. They're now enslaved, and so, especially for Owen, he's the story is about a coming of age, and he gets in trouble with that, and suddenly the coming of age happens as a shock trauma, because of his mistakes or accidents that happened while he was doing his ritual to do a coming of age. Then suddenly he gets in trouble, and that trouble causes an incredible trauma, which is the destruction of his village, the enslavement of his people. All these things happen that force this ape, who was inquisitive, sweet, and imaginative, and full of life, to suddenly get into this world of deep emotions and anger and need to suddenly very quickly evolved, as opposed to having a curve. And obviously the difficulty for me is to keep his character, depending on what scene he was shooting, from day to day. It's like I'd have to remind him sometime in his posture, wait, this is young Noah that you're doing now, but this scene is not young Noah. And then we'd look at each other and go, yes, yeah, of course, yeah. And then we okay, yeah, I get it now. And so he had to go back and forth, and that's really, really challenging for an actor. Especially for the continuum, of the character.
Your father!
how much deep into production you were when you met Andy Serkis. I don't know if you talked with him about like maybe some advice for the movements, or like,
yeah.
Can you tell me?
It was interesting when my first meeting with Andy. I had 2 meetings with Andy. We talked over the phone, obviously, just to introduce each other, and then we had Zoom calls with the actors. There was group Zoom call at some point, I only stayed for about I think I did 2 or 3 Zoom calls, and I saw that everything was going well. And it was really generous of himself. It was fantastic, really. Quickly, I think Andy understood that the apes had done their homework when he met them. He's like, oh, okay, these guys went through, they did all the improvisation, and they did this, and then, and they got their characters. And so now he was able to jump in at a stage in their evolution where they were ready to go into details of how they would speak and the rhythm of that speech, go make sure that each actor had a good story of his character, mastering it, knowing from emotion to, what's his relationship to his father, what does he like, etc. So he worked with them on a lot of details, and then he did the rest of the sessions one-on-one with the actors, going through their scenes and helping them, with that. And Wes was involved, and, it was really the fine-tuning, the last, touch up to make sure that these guys have exactly what's necessary to deliver the goods.
Yeah, and what pressure, because he was Caesar, he was Gollum, like he's the
master.
Oh
my God, he is a master, absolutely.
Nor bend for your king. Never.
I grew up with Planet of the Apes. When was the first movie came out in 1969, wasn't it?
1969, I think, yeah.
Yes, so I was 8 years old. It's, I saw this, and it was, to me, it was a transformation for my perception of life, It was very, impactful, and I couldn't wait for the next movie, and, I loved Cornelius, and they became our heroes, back in the days, and they were so well done, these movies. I still watch them today once in a while.